Now,
it would become boring and dull after the first million, billion, 100 billion years. People, listen to your heart. Would you exist in this state of being? I think not, and thus I refute it. I prefer the maggots to embrace me.
all right.
Yes.
Now,
I look forward to embracing them.
to embrace who?
The maggots. Let them feast upon my rotting corpse when I die, and I can embrace oblivion.
All right. My question is to you. So you are an atheist, yes?
Indeed, yes.
Okay. All right. What made you to come to this conclusion?
Because I thought that there was so many contradictions within the very idea of God. God is all-knowing. If he is all-knowing, how does he know ignorance? How does he know what the feeling of what it is like not to know? If he is all loving, why is he made us suffer? If he is all powerful, can he reduce his own power? So these inherent contradictions and difficulties within the very notion of the divine has led me to the path of atheism.
Can I answer you? Now, according to Islam, we say God do things that befits his majesty and glory. Meaning, there are certain things which doesn't befit his majesty, doesn't befit him as God, as divine. So these things which it doesn't befit him, those are what we call it negated things about God. Like, for example, to say God to become ignorant. Yeah, as you mentioned here, when God is all-knowing, God to become ignorant, this doesn't befit his majesty and glory. So that's why he cannot be described as ignorant. And as well, he cannot be an ignorant, not because he's unable or about ability. It's about, these are what we call it negated attributes about the divine. Which is like, that's why when, for example, one of the things, which is one of the common...
How can he know what it is like to know everything?
No, he knows.
He doesn't know the experience of ignorance.
He doesn't need to have experience to know things. You understand? So that's why you understand.
I don't understand.
Now, for example, when we create, for example, the computers and all of these things, for example, not necessarily we have to live on electricity in order for us to understand what's going on there. But we do understand when we created them, we know the details of them. Even us as a creation to something that we create and we craft.
I don't know the details.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm ignorant when it comes to...
So that's why, with ignorance, that's why what we say to you, God do things that befits his majesty and glory. Simple as that.
You are defending an idea which is inherently contradictory. You were defending...
Salam alaikum. How are you doing? Amin, jazakallah khair.
I'm sorry. Look, you seem like a reasonable chap, but you are defending, you understand? You are,
yes,
you are actually defending an idea which we cannot see.
Okay.
We cannot see. This is and if you cannot see something, you have to judge the idea.
No problem, yeah.
You have to judge the idea on the grounds of whether it is coherent or not coherent. The idea of God, the idea of Allah, is actually logically incoherent.
It's not an idea, by the way. It's not an idea. By the way, it's not an idea. You take it as an idea, but we don't take it as an idea. The issue is you have to understand the concept behind it. First of all, that's what you are thinking. You are taking it as an idea. Us, we don't take it. We say our existence actually relies on the existence of God. Basically, that he has created us, and that's why otherwise we cannot be existed. As simple as that. And as well, this universe has a starting point. Since it has a starting point, who has initiated this starting point? This goes back to the root of this.
But I'm not talking about the contingency argument. I'm talking
let alone
about
the contingencies.
Because
what happens if you are? Let me tell you something.
That idea may be real.
You know, the issue is
unreal.
Before you discuss,
it's actually logically incoherent.
Before you discuss the details, discuss the root of it. Because what happens? We keep discussing now the details. I'm talking about the root of the thing. Like, for example, when these people, Christian, they were discussing details, and I'm saying, why we discuss the details? Let's go back to the root of the matter.
I'm discussing the details because I didn't understand what God was doing before the universe, nor do you. But I'm talking about the idea of God as we know it today.
Yeah, the idea of God again
is actually incoherent.
It's not it's not.
If you really focus your powers of mental concentration and reason onto this idea of God, you will find that it's nonsense. It's logically incoherent.
That's why my point is before you do this, before you go to this, if you are discussing about if it's coherence or incoherence, before you discuss, discuss the root of the matter.
Yes.
This universe exists. Yes, you exist. This universe exists.
I exist.
All right, good. This universe has a starting point. You agree with this?
Of course, yeah.
So if it has, how did it start?
This is not at all what I'm guessing at. I'm saying the idea of God is incoherent.
You see here before,
asking me a
again, my point is to you, for example, again, before we discuss the details, let's discuss the root of the thing.
We can discuss the root, but I'm just asking.
No, let's discuss the root.
God
listen. After we demonstrate,
how can he be all powerful? Can he reduce his own power? How can he be all knowing if he does not know the experience?
Okay, good.
Of ignorance.
Going back to the
pain
point.
Or suffering.
Okay.
Or does he?
Listen, you repeated this a few times, and my point is, before we discuss this, let's go to the root of the matter. Then we'll come to this point. So that's the root of the matter of the existence of God. And then after we demonstrate about if God exists or not, then after that we'll discuss these details. Okay. What you are discussing details.
You're using this as a strategy to avoid
no. I will not listen. I will answer your question. Listen. We will answer this question after demonstrating the root of the matter. The root of the matter, because everything relies on something. Like for example, this is how it should be. Before you learn advanced mathematics, for example, you have to understand the basics. What's the root of the math before anything else? So going back, if this universe existed, and which you agree with this, so it has a starting point.
Okay, well, this immediately say to that argument.
Wow.
No.
Why don't you? Let's discuss it. Let's discuss it. Then we'll discuss that.
Finally, we can actually talk about the incoherence.
Exactly. Yes, that's fine.
Okay.
We'll do that.
You want to talk about the origins of the universe?
Yes.
You do not know. I do not know what happened before the universe.
Good.
Because what is the universe? It is space and time, and you need space for something to have a cause and effect.
Good.
And you need time for that process to occur.
Good.
So the universe is space and time. Outside of that, we cannot fathom that reality. So
all right,
there needs to be a starting point or an end point. There's no time. How can you even talk about it in those terms?
So now here, and again, you see here, that's why since it has a starting point, as you mentioned in time and space, that means there is an initiator for it.
Not necessarily.
Okay, then how did it come into existence?
You're ultimately thinking within the scaffolding of your own mind.
No. With your mind, let's use your judgment. No. Before outside,
these laws break down.
No, before we go outside. That's why, since we are talking inside this universe and inside the space of the universe, things happen for a reason.
Yeah.
So it has a cause and it has cause.
That law does not apply outside of the universe.
Yeah, that's my point. My point is, in this universe, before you go to the beyond this universe, in this universe and in this space of this universe, things happen by cause and effect. That means the universe has a cause for it to start. You understand?
Of course.
Yeah. So since it has a cause, this cause has to have certain characteristics.
But you see,
you understand?
What you're doing is you're taking a law which exists within this universe, and then you're extracting that law and taking it outside the universe. And we have no idea whether the laws of this universe apply to the reality outside of it.
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. We're talking about.
You don't need to posit a God as
as
Aristotle did, as an unmoved mover.
Yeah.
But regardless of this argument,
yes,
I
exactly.
want to get to the definition of God, which is incoherent.
Yes, that's why.
He's an incoherent being,
one second.
This is why I'm an atheist. I think it's absurd.
That's why. It's okay. Don't be sorry. You'll be sorry later on, not now.
I'm sorry, I just didn't want to. When I'm in Jahannam,
if Allah didn't guide you
with the best people.
Yeah, my point is to you. Going back to the point, by the way, if you are here to listen to yourself, we are not interested.
No, I am interested.
Okay, good. So my point is, this universe, since you said space and time, as you mentioned, that space and time, it has what is called the unmoved mover, the things that has initiated it.
Yes.
This thing that has initiated it, it should have certain characteristics. It should have power. It should be powerful to create this universe. It should have knowledge to create this universe, and it should have a will to decide to create it or not. This is the definition of God. That's what we are. What we Muslims believe. Now the point is, what you are saying. When we see something, when we say God is all powerful, meaning there is no any point that he will lose his power. Yeah. You understand? So that's what we believe in.
So there's no point.
There is no point he will lose his powers.
So in theory, could he reduce his knowledge
At all.
to feel ignorant?
No. Not in theory, not even in theory, because this is what we call it a negated attribute about God. These things negated. You cannot describe a tree as monkey. You can't. You understand?
So if you know everything, then how can you know what it is like to be ignorant?
So the thing is here, without experience, you don't need to have experience to know something. When you are the creator of something and has the absolute knowledge of everything, will know and understand everything that's happening.
But if you understand that, then you can never not know.
No, you know, definitely you know. But that's the point when we say all-knowing. Means he's the possessor of all knowledge. Includes everything that we are aware and things that we are not aware as well.
Say I presented you with a physics exam, and there would be questions on there that you would not know. And you would look upon those questions and you would feel the sensation of ignorance. You would feel the sensation of not knowing something.
Good.
God can never know what that feels like. And therefore he can never know everything.
Good.
That's what I'm asking you.
What's that? By the way, you see here, you failed into the same mistake that you were accusing us with. You are saying you are using your own analogy within this universe and decide things beyond this universe. So it's exactly the same thing we say to you. You are using your own idea, your own analogy, and decide on behalf of God. You understand? That's what you are using. Because yes, you do this. Now here you're saying if someone doesn't know the feeling of being ignorant, means doesn't know. No, that's not true. Because if someone knows, if the Creator knows what is ignorance and knows what is knowledge, and he is the creator of everything, and he knows everything, he will know everything. Do you understand?
Yes.
So which means he is the possessor of all knowledge. So we are not using our own analogy and our own reasoning to decide how God will know about these things. You understand?
I'm afraid I do not understand.
Because that's beyond, again, this universe. Is exactly, I will use the same argument to you. Things, you cannot use your own analogy within this universe to decide things beyond this universe. It's exactly the same concept.
You're saying that we can ultimately not fathom the essence of God. We cannot understand
We cannot understand God. We cannot comprehend God totally. We know things about Him. For example, we know He is all-powerful. We know that He is all-knowing. We know that He has independent will. We know that He has created everything.
I'm sorry,
we know that He owns everything. That's it. You see here, that's why our knowledge about God is as limited as He has revealed to us.
What we have done, we've constructed this idea of God by extracting things we have as humans. We know things. So we imagine, what would it be like to know everything? We have power. What would it be?
You're imagining again. You see, you're using your imagination.
Created a being.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine beyond this universe?
But when you actually consider,
can you imagine beyond this universe?
When you think of a being which possesses all power, omniscience, omnipotence, omnipresence.
Yes.
We
don't say omnipresent. We don't say everywhere.
Okay,
we don't say everywhere.
So Allah is not everywhere.
Not everywhere.
But how can He be all powerful if He's not everywhere all at once?
It doesn't mean to be. You don't need to be everywhere to be all powerful.
You need to be aware of everything.
He's aware of everything. You don't need to be everywhere to know.
In His knowledge, He is everywhere.
In His knowledge, He knows everywhere. In His power, He is everywhere in terms of power, but He is not everywhere in His essence.
Doesn't it say that He is the size of a mountain?
No.
So, but He has defined borders. He is defined.
There is no borders.
So He's immaterial.
No border means but we don't say that the border that we think that He is, there is nothing surrounds Him. Yeah, that's true, which He says this. But as well, of course, this universe.
This is another contradiction.
Which is
that you cannot have something which is non-physical. Because if something is non-physical, it's
that's again
everywhere.
You see here,
nowhere.
The problem is
all things need a physical definition.
Yeah.
Like this. Like if I said this is non-physical, it'd be everywhere, nowhere. So it's a contradiction.
My point is, that's why, because again, you are using this universe to decide about things that has to be physical. You understand?
You are saying that God gave me my reason as a gift. It was a divine gift I made in God's image.
No. We don't say you made it in God's as you think.
So if my reason is from God, it must be pure and true.
No, not necessarily.
So God gave me a faulty tool. He gave me a weak tool.
No. He didn't give you. He gave you a tool which is sufficient for you to live on this earth, sufficient for you to discover what's the purpose of your life, which is to submit your will to His will. That's sufficient. That's the tool here.
He's not sufficient to do so because my reason tells me that God is a contradiction.
No. My point is you already just said now. Beyond this universe, you cannot understand and comprehend yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's why we say this. We use the same analogy. We say beyond this universe, beyond the creation,
God
we cannot. There is no lie. What's the lie? We don't know.
We don't know. God presides. Beyond the universe.
And He is above, as He described Himself. He is above the heaven, and as well adding to that, He's not mixed with His creation.
Because He's not mixed with the creation, but He's given me the faculty of reason, and my reason tells me He's a contradiction. So I'm forced to reject Him.
No, it's your misunderstanding. No, it's your.
Me a faculty.
Is your misunderstanding?
No.
Is your misunderstanding makes the contradiction? Your misunderstanding makes the contradiction.
Okay, maybe you can help me. I will tell you. You can save me from Jahannam because it's
called Jahannam.
Sorry, Jahannam. Okay, how can God be all powerful? And
I cannot save you, by the way. I cannot save you. Do you know that? Do you know why? Do you know why?
No,
do you know why?
Why can I not?
That's why, because Allah told us, you don't guide whom you love, but Allah guides whom He wishes. No, so He is the one who guides you, not me.
How can He be all loving if I'm predetermined to go to
ask
the
Him? Have you asked Him?
Itself?
You asked Him?
What monster
have you asked? Listen,
being
if you
condemned to eternal destruction and horror?
Yeah, because you don't want to accept Him. That's
I tried to,
your
but
choice.
I think he's
you
ludicrous.
No, keep trying. My point is to you. Listen. That's what you are asking.
If He has condemned me, I
reject it. Have you read about Jeffrey Lang?
No, I have not.
Okay. He was an atheist, and actually he was the head of atheist society in his university. He's, I think, professor in mathematics in America. He's a professor, well-known figure, by the way, and well-respected figure. And then he himself, he was an atheist. He was a sworn enemy against faith, all faith. Yeah,
good man.
Yeah,
and like then, a man of reason.
Yeah, and then he, after reading the Quran, after opening his heart to the Quran, he became Muslim. That's amazing thing. Read about him. His name is Jeffrey Lang.
Sounds like he looked at too many statistics and had a mental breakdown.
No.
Maybe his wife left him.
No. He did not. By the way, that's why. By the way, people like him and others, they are not someone will accept the faith just because of emotional impact. He was a person of reasoning, and he said, this is his word. He said, the Quran, when you read the Quran, you will be in one of the two choices. No third. You will say, this book, as if you will ignore that it exists or something. Just ignore all the information that's there, and just move on. Or you have to accept what it is. One of the things. There is no third choice.
All of the deep questions.
Have you read the Quran? Have you read the Quran?
I've read bits of the Hadith.
No. I don't. No. Do you have a Quran? Do you have Quran?
As vulnerable as a veiled virgin. It's somewhere in the Hadith. I'll find it for you. Yes.
No, means he was shy. That shows the shy. These are metaphor description. That's something else. He was shy. He was someone who's shy. He will not be like upfront like this.
The Quran is beautiful.
Did you read it?
I've read the first surah.
Okay, first surah is not enough. Do you have a Quran?
No. Thank you.
Have it?
I will
read
devour
it.
But
listen.
But can I
need two things from you. Listen, before you. I need two things from you.
Yes.
I need only two things from you. First thing, I need you to go to read the Quran.
Yes.
Like literally, with open mind and heart. Just see.
I've tried to, and I read it. I find it absurd.
No, read it. No.
I tried to divorce my soul.
Come on.
From the prejudices of my education.
By the way, why don't you?
And I cannot because it's absurd. My reason tells me, it screams to me. It is nonsense.
By the way, do you work in any theater? By the way,
no, I do not.
You should apply. Relax. Calm down.
Yes, no.
Calm down.
Save your mind.
You just said. Listen. You just said now you didn't read the Quran, and you said I read it. So you contradict yourself. So my advice to you.
Have I read it to the degree an Aman has?
No.
No, I have not. But have I gazed across some of the pages?
Read.
Yes.
That's not enough.
Read it all.
So go read it. Go and read it. So that's the first thing. Okay. The second thing, my advice to you, go Google Jeffrey Lang, study him or know about him.
Yes.
read what's his story about Islam, and then come back to us next week.
Okay, but can
next
I?
week.
I'll say
You have a week.
I'll say one thing before I leave.
Yeah.
Okay, you were saying my reason is smothered. It is smothered by ignorance and secular thoughts and misapprehensions. But I am purely asking you a question about.
But he's good. He's good to work in the theater. Actually, you know, he's a good actor. By the way, when you do this,
my reason.
By the way, what do you do for a living?
I'm a student. My reason.
Are you actor?
No, I'm a student of philosophy.
Philosophy. Okay.
This is why I think that.
That makes sense. You're the same. Actually, to be actor is better for you. By the way.
Well, I enjoy walking on the stage of the mind,
and
when
I
come across Allah on the stage of the mind, I can do nothing. I try to submit to him, but I have to reject him because he is a rational concept.
Try harder.
He's an irrational concept.
Go and read. These are the two things that I'm requesting for you. Will you do them?
I will read the Quran and I will return to you and ask you some serious questions.
No problem. That's one thing. The second thing,
Different language. Let me do. Can I ask you to do something for me? Can you please look at a secular moral structure, a moral system
already did.
which was not birthed in Christianity or Judaism or like Aristotle or Plato? Because these are
they were God believers. Aristotle was God believer. Aristotle was God believer, according to them, by the way.
Could advance towards flourishing, beauty, harmony.
By the way.
And these minds were not swayed by Christianity or religion.
By the way.
These were wonderful systems of thought.
By the way, Aristotle that you mentioned.
It's a prophet.
No, it's not. I don't say he's a prophet, and I don't say he is a believer in God or something. But according to him, he's a God believer.
Yeah,
he believes
he's
in
a
God.
believer of God.
Yeah,
of the unmoved mover.
Yes.
But I agree with that.
So then the morality that he had. Wait. No.
I can take bits of his philosophy and reject other sections.
So up to you. So you
I'm
pick and
to do
so
that.
cherry pick.
You have to accept the entire book.
So cherry pick.
I do not.
So it's not. So my advice to you, the two things. Yeah. So I already did my homework, so I don't need to have to do it again. Now for you, these are your homework. Read the Quran, study it, open your mind for the Quran. Secondly, read about Jeffrey Lang and see some of his videos because he will explain his story about Islam. That's all.
Okay.
We done?
Yes.
Are we done?
Yes.
Are you done?
I will read the Quran. I will read the Hadith. And maybe I will understand why the divine descended to talk about many things. Morality.
I've done this. I've done this.
And the human essence.
I've done this.
Pleasure to me. What's your name?
My name is Sheikh Muhammad.
Sheikh Muhammad.
Yes.
A pleasure. Sheikh, you are one of
Imam.
Imam. You're Imam.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a pleasure to speak with an Imam. A learned scholar.
That's good.
Thank you.
Look after yourself. May Allah guide you.
I hope my reason guides me, and if it is towards Allah, let it be.
Good. That's what.
You to wear this next time, yeah?
All right. Okay. By the way, this is all about after all this madness. Alhamdulillah, we try to represent Islam. And by the way, sometimes we get these hecklers. They try to attack Islam in all ways that they can, and that's why we need to be patient first of all in our da'wah, and we sometimes as well go. We show some maybe a side which we don't want to show it, which is, for example, we are a human being, we have shortcomings. And the thing is, we try our best to show Islam in the most peaceful way. But those people, they come and they attack Islam. They speak bad about Allah, they speak bad about the Prophet ﷺ, and we get angry. We ask Allah to forgive us first of all, and we ask Allah to guide this guy. Hopefully he's, Allah will open his heart and mind to the truth, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. Subhanakallah wa bihamdika, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.